I'm Miss Hannah with the Wixom Public Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make our sunset weaving project. So what's in your bag will be a supply list. You will have a pre-cut and hole punched paper plate. You will have one large piece of black felt with a plastic needle. You will have 4 colors of yarn. Each of them are 4 yards each. If you have other colors at home, other yarn or string or anything, you can use those too and pick your own colors. What you will not have in your bag that you will need scissors and you will need some form of glue. I'm going to be using hot glue, but you can use liquid glue. It will just take longer and more attention to dry. So as always, tag us on social media or reach out via email, and we'd love to see your work, and let's get started. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to make our loom on the paper plate first. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to string. I'm going to use the white, and I'm going to try to make this the front of the loom, this hollowed out part of the paper plate, and the back of the paper plate is going to be the back of the loom. So how I'm going to do that is we are going to string this here like this. My bad. So we want to make this the back of the loom. So we want to go through the middle, and then we're going to tie it off. Just a simple knot will do. And this is just to start the process of the looming. And then we'll cut off the excess of that thread. So this is the back of our loom, and now this is the front. So now I gotta find the beginning of my yarn. Hopefully there won't be any knots. It is very, very long. If you want to cut it up into sections, if you want to just get a piece that's maybe about as long as your arm, you'll have fewer snags or fewer knots as you're doing this. But me, I like to challenge myself, apparently. So I'm going to put it in the next notch and put my needle through the center hole and pull through. And we'll see how many snags or knots we get. This craft will take you some time. So set yourself up in front of the TV, listen to a book off of Libby or Overdrive, or just enjoy the day. But first things first, we got to make the loom part. So again, now that it's through the hole, we're gonna go into the next notch. And if you want to do this craft again on your own, you can use other paper plates. You could use a piece of cardboard, leftover boxes from like the pantry when you finish your cereal. You could use that. If you want to do a circle one, it is important to have an odd number of notches, so an odd number of strings. If it's an even number, you're not going to get that weaving effect. But your paper plate that we've given you should have 15 notches in it. So you're going to go around, continue to make your loom, just like this, notch, and through the hole. We're going to do that all the way around. So I'm on the last notch. I'm going to put it through the center, pull through, and that's the last one. So on the back, I'm going to make a knot in just any one of these back sides of the loom. And make a knot to tie it off. And then because I'm going to use this color for my sun, the center of the sun, I'm just gonna keep going with it. I'm not gonna necessarily cut it off. I'm just gonna go right back through the center and start weaving. So, yeah, kind of an unsuccessful knot. because I'm using so much thread at once. Like I said, if you just cut off a strand about as big as your arm, you won't have this problem. So we're gonna go back through the center to bring our yarn to the front, hopefully without any knots. All right, and now we're gonna start the weaving. You can just start wherever you want. I'm gonna start here, and it's under, over, all the way around. I'm only gonna do a little bit at a time so that I can pull it through, because if you don't pull it through, you're gonna have a backup of yarn that you're gonna need to pull through, and it might not look as nice. So what did I do? We just went under, so over, under, and pull through. And turn, and again, over, under. So you'll only want to do a little bit at a time before pulling your yarn through to make sure that it's nice and tight to go all the way around. And you'll just keep doing this, and okay, this one was under, so we're gonna go over, under. So again, we're gonna do this all the way around until we get either you can use up all your yarn to create a really big sun. You could use up maybe half your yarn to create a little sun, but this is gonna be the center of our sun in our sunset. So we're just gonna keep weaving all the way around. Okay, so I've got a sun, and now I'm gonna tie off. I still have a lot of yarn left, but I think my sun is a proper sun size for my paper plate. So I'm going to, here's where I've ended. I'm gonna just go and loop under the same part of the loom that it's on and make a knot. Make a knot, make it decently tight. So I've got a knot on my loom, and we're going to just thread under some of the sun. Now I weaved pretty tightly, so it can be a little difficult to tie off, but that's okay. And snip the excess off. I'm gonna snip it right there and then kind of jiggle it so that it kind of gets under there. Now there's still a little bit of a tail, so I can snip that little bit off too. And now you can barely see it. So now I'm gonna go to my next color, and you can do your colors in any way that you want. It's your sunset. Make it your own. And I'm going to, for continuity's sake, I'm gonna use the same strand on my loom that the other knot is. This can look a little bulky, so you could do an opposite strand. Just make sure that you're still going opposite whatever you did before. So like I went under on this one, I would go over on this. But for continuity's sake and my own sanity, I'm going to just do the same. Do it on the same one. And I'm gonna go backwards through a couple of these to hide the end tail. Pull it through, chop it off. There, it's kind of hidden. And now we're going to just continue weaving. All right, so I have my yellow, and again, I'm going to use the one that I'm on to tie off. So we're just gonna go under and make a knot. Now it's time to tie off my orange and then start on the red. This color I have is red, and we'll do it all the way around. For that, you can go all the way to the edge if you want. If you don't want to, that's okay. Just do however much you want. So my red is all done. I kind of ran out of red, otherwise I probably would have gone all the way to the edges. It'll be fun that way. So now you're gonna decide which is the top of your sunset and which is the bottom. So this will be my top and this will be my bottom. You're gonna take your felt and you can make anything you want. I'm just gonna copy what I did here. So I've got a mountain and some birds. You could do almost anything, like you could do a lighthouse. You could do animals like bears or a coyote or a wolf. You could do a seascape, maybe a boat. There's so many things that you could do. But since the felt is difficult to work with, trace it out on a piece of paper, cut out your design, and then put it on here and then cut around your design. That way it's a little more exact. Me, I'm just gonna freehand it or try to copy what I did over there. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. And we're gonna cut about, an inch or so around the bottom of the felt away from the paper plate. We're gonna actually flip this over and do this. That way we know we have enough space. If you're working with liquid glue, you might want to cut a little bit more. That way there's more glue to dry. But I'm using the hot glue, so it shouldn't take too much. I'm gonna cut out my birds now with the scrap piece of paper. Birds are just like an M shape. But yeah, you could do pretty much anything with the silhouette. You could do a tree or a copse of trees. You could do bunches of birds. You could do a house on a hill or just a house. It's pretty much whatever you want to make it. Just make sure you've got some good scissors on hand. All right, I've got 2 birds. This bird's looking a little not bird-like. But like I said, trace your design out on a piece of paper and then cut it out. And then we're just going to hot glue everything. So be careful with the hot glue if you're using it. It is obviously hot. So like I'm being very careful with these small pieces because they could burn my fingers otherwise. Now I'm gonna leave that there. Just put a lot of hot glue there. Take it off, and then we're gonna place it just so. Flip it over, because we wanna tuck this part against the back. So I'm just going to put a bunch of glue against the felt, and then we're gonna tuck it over and onto the back of the paper plate so that we can't see it. And then I'm gonna go back through and get the spots that I missed. And if you're using liquid glue, you're gonna have to hold it down and wait for it to dry. And that's on pretty solidly. So now all that's left is to hang it up. So we're gonna use whatever we have left over, flip it over, find out which is the top of your loom, go through the back, tie a knot, and then I don't really want to see my knot, so I'm gonna just shimmy it to the back there, and ta-da! You have a lovely sunset. And that is how you do that. So again, we'd love to see your work. Shoot us an email or tag us on social media, and we hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching.